Hey there, hope you're doing well today. And today I want to talk to you about some Z-Man and basically all their crawl baits. So we're going to go through a little bit of everything, when I like to use them, different actions that they have, and we got to do Hella Craws, we got the Z-Man goat, so I'll go over it all and kind of just talk you through it. So let's start with my favorite, that Z-Man goat. I've caught some giant fish on this thing. This past year at Okeechobee for practice, caught that 9-pounder. If you guys haven't seen that video, make sure you go back and look at it. I'm punching this thing. And what's great about this bait is it's got a nice body, it's got some like thickness to it, and it's got these legs. So what these do is you can see they're kind of cupped there a little bit, and it moves water, but it doesn't like throw a ton off. So when it falls, it goes like this real quick. And it's super tight, it goes straight up and down. You can kind of see when I hold it that way, it's just gonna be kick, 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 kick. So when that falls, it generates a reaction strike a lot of times. It's good for putting a hook in there. I use a Hayabusa, usually a 4.0 FPP straight, and that's a really good one. I use it punching, flipping, all that sort of stuff. You can even turn it sideways and put it on the back of a trailer, and like it can be a swim jig, it can be a chatterbait, any of that sort of stuff. So it makes for an all-around really just kind of great bait. The next one that I like to flip is that Z-Man Billy Goat. This is a larger size. You can see compared to that goat, there's also a baby goat that's even smaller. This one that's got those cupped legs there as well. They're gonna move even more water. I like to throw this on the back of a buzz bait. So when I have a buzz bait and I'm kind of throwing it around, I'll peel that skirt off, and this elastic helps float up, and you can't rip this off. This thing's so stretchy, that elastic material, it makes for the perfect, this kind of buzzbait look. So when I take this, you kind of put it on there, you'll throw it around, you can skip it, it's really good all around. The next sort of action we got, this is that new Hella Craws. So you can see this bait compared to the goat, where the goat comes straight down, kind of kicking, kicking, kicking. This one kicks out to the side. So it's going like this, it's flopping around, it's looking crazy. Maybe in colder conditions, I'm gonna use this, and warmer waters, I'm gonna throw this, so I'm moving a lot more water. It's kind of, I look funny doing that now, but it's kind of just, it's an awesome swim jig trailer. I'll flip this as well. But that swim jig, you can really just work it really slow. That elastic keeps it up. Depending on what swim jig you're using, you might have to trim it down a little bit to take your scissors, cut it off. But that is gonna be a special little bait this year. Everybody's gonna really like that one. The next one is the Z-Man, it's the Turbo Craws. And you can see this one here. I've used these for the last couple of years. I've really been happy with them. They got this real streamlined body. So if you wanna punch it, you can. I flip it around milfoil a lot, use it on the Potomac, where else, the Chesapeake, anywhere you got grass, it really thrives. It's got a good little like body there, so you can get your hook in there. And what this one does with the claws, so similar to, it's kind of almost in between, I would say, the goat, the Hella Craw, and then you have the Turbo Craw. So this one, it grabs water, it pushes a lot of it, kind of like that action, but it goes out to the side as well. So that's where I'm telling you, it's kind of in between. It moves a lot of water. I'll throw it on a swim jig, but then you got to trim it up a lot of times, make it smaller. Works well for that. So that's kind of a situation that I'll pick up that Turbo Craw. The next one is the Punch Craw. This guy, you can see he's super streamlined. He's smaller, kind of has like a thinner body there. Not a whole lot of action that's going to happen with those claws. It's kind of just straight up and down. That's perfect for punching. When you get those fish that are just in those thick mats, that's where you want this, take your angler tungsten, like 1 ounce weight, it'll pop right through there. It works really well for that. When it hits the bottom, it keeps those claws, because they're elastic, sticking straight up in those fish's face, and they just come over and suck it right up. It's a nice little bait. It's only 4 inches long, so nice and compact, works well for it. Let's see what we got next. Let's go the Pro Craws. So this is similar to the TRD crawl, but it's the big version of it, essentially. It's 3.5 inches. You can see it's got a decent amount of plastic there. It's pretty thick. It works well for punching as well. So if you're in an area that maybe the mats aren't quite as thick, but you still want to give a little bigger profile than that Punch Craws. That's why I'm going to pick up that Pro Craws. You can see the elastic on the claws there, very big. So then you got those skinny little arms. So what that does, when it hits the bottom, they'll stand up and then they wave around a little bit. They kind of just do like that sort of deal where you can see they're floating just right in their face. If the forage is a little bigger, say you're on an area that has some big craws, that's when you're gonna pick that up versus the punch. That's a good little bait though. Make sure you check that out. The next one and final one we're gonna talk about today is the Palmetto Bugs. And what this is, you gotta pull the legs apart here, and this gives you more of a natural gliding action. So maybe you'll fish this on like a 3/8 ounce weight instead of throwing it on, if you're throwing your goat or whatever, on like a 1/2 ounce where you're trying to get that down quick. Throw this a little bit lighter, and it's gonna get that more gliding action because it's got a flatter belly there. And then when it hits the bottom, you get the legs going all over the place. They don't have any cups on them, so they're gonna just kind of get up there in their face there and dangle. It's not gonna be as aggressive, I guess you'd call it, as like a Hella Craws, your goat, your Turbo Craw. This can also be good if you're fishing somewhere where it's like a little bit warmer water, because that's where that bulkier profile, typically the forage is bigger in the summer than it is in the winter. So that's something to look for. What else do we got? That goat I like to use year round. Same with the that Turbo Craw. That might be a little bit warmer weather, but that's kind of my layout of how and when I use the different Z-Man crawls. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear what your go-to is out of these. Like, I'm picking up the goat first 90% of the time, just confidence deal. When you catch a giant on it the first time you use it, it really helps speed that along. So if you have any other questions, put them in there. And if you do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe.